Man, I didn't think that I would be making this video today. I was just in my room about to make a video on my non-wrestling channel on the Talking Native, which you can subscribe to. But it's not about me. You see, the thing is that um, I just got a text from my uncle telling me, you can tell by the title down below, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Roddy Piper, my tribute to Roddy Piper. Um, he ended up passing away, which is strange. And, it's just this weird thing. Like, about a month ago, I think, we lost the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And now we lost Roddy Piper. Two great legends in the wrestling business. Um, so I just think that's insane. And I don't even know what to say at this point. So now there's nothing up about it on the WWE website, WWE.com. But um, I've been reading the sites and it looks like it might be true. And that it's just strange. So let me kind of read about Roddy Piper because I have an article on here. And if you want to find it, you can click down below to find it. The article is called Roddy Piper Dies at 61 from Cardiac Arrest. And it says, wrestling legend Roddy Piper has died at the age of 61, TMZ Sports has learned. Piper, born Roderick George Tomes, died from cardiac arrest in his sleep at his home in Hollywood on Thursday night. He was discovered on Friday. Piper was a wrestling icon, one of the biggest stars in the WWE back in the 80s, and even wrestled in WrestleMania 1 back in 1985, squared off against Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. Roddy's rep tells us, I am devastated at this news. Rod was a good friend as well as a client and one of the most genuine, sincere, and authentic people I have ever known. This is a true loss to all of us. Piper has been diagnosed with Hodgkin's Lyme phobia, I think it says, in 2006, but last November he said he was cancer-free. A family source tells us he was cancer-free at the time of his death. A family member tells us, our family is saddened by the sudden passing of our father and beloved husband, Roderick Toombs, a.k.a. Roddy Piper. Roddy was admitted into the WWE Hall of Fame back in 2005 and was one of the top 50 villains in the history of the WWE. Piper had a long relationship with WWE. Last wrestling back in 2008, but appeared on various, which actually isn't true, but I'm going to get to that, on various WWE shows up until 2014. Roddy is survived by his wife, Kitty, and their 4 kids, including 3 daughters and son, Colton, who's pursuing a career in professional wrestling. The death is especially shocking considering we just spoke to him on Friday and asked his opinion about the Hulk Hogan scandal. And if you want to see a video about that, I made a couple of videos talking about that. And that's really all that there is to read about it. This is just insane. Like, Hulk, moments. Like I said, I didn't grow up as a wrestling fan in the 80s, but there's stuff I still remember of Roddy Piper. I remember watching on DVD the first ever WrestleMania match. It was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T with Superfly Jimmy Snuka ringside versus Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff with Cowboy Bob Orton ringside. And they had that little match there. He was in the first ever WrestleMania main event. It's just, insane. I remember he had this talk show called Piper's Pit, and he had a ton of wrestlers on it. He had Andre the Giant on it. He's had you know Hulk Hogan on it, Mr. T. Um, I remember the one he had with Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and they started that little feud there, and he cracked Snuka over the head with a coconut, and they did that whole feud. I remember that. I remember when he was doing his feud, the boxing match at WrestleMania 2 he had with Mr. T, and building up to the match, he ended up shaving the Haiti kid to look like Mr. T, which I thought was a funny segment. And I remember that he was just such a great villain in the WWE. He had that big rivalry with Hulk Hogan, um, which I think they had played a documentary about it on the WWE Network. But it might be gone now. I'm not really sure. And there's just so much history with Piper. Um, he even had that whole feud with Ravish and Rick Rude for a little bit. He ended up costing Ravish and Rick Rude the IC title against Ultimate Warrior. I remember him on commentary, him marking out when Virgil was beaten during the match with Virgil and Ted DiBiase for the $1 Million Championship. I remember that. And I just saw that too, but it's still cool. And I just remember, I watched a segment when he was on Piper's Pit with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he was on it. I thought that was a hilarious segment. Um, I remember he interfered in the Hulk Hogan Vince McMahon match at WrestleMania 19, and he tried to help Vince McMahon win. And it was a nice shocking moment. And then he feuded with Hulk Hogan when Hulk Hogan went to the Mr. America gimmick, and it was him, and I believe, and somebody else versus Mr. America. And I remember that stuff. He went to WCW for a little bit and went and joined the NWO. Then he wasn't in the NWO. And eventually, like you said, he got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I don't remember who. I didn't see the Hall of Fame that year because I wasn't a wrestling fan at the time. But that was pretty cool. And I remember him and Ric Flair won the World Tag Team Championships from the Spirit Squad. I thought that was a cool moment. And then eventually he had Piper's Pit. He even confronted Chris Jericho too when Chris Jericho was taking out all the legends, and he ended up having the WrestleMania match. It was him, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Chris Jericho in that 3-on-1 handicap elimination match. I remember he was eliminated, but it was still a cool moment. And Ric Flair was in his corner and stuff like that. Then I remember the Piper's Pit segments we would get occasionally on Raw, especially the old school Raw. I remember the one he did with John Cena when they were building up the whole match with Randy Orton and Ray Barrett, and we were wondering whether or not John Cena was going to screw over Randy Orton. And I remember that segment. I remember he had Legends House, the whole show there, and he was pretty good in that show. If you want to check out my review of that show, you can check him out. And I remember him on that show. I remember the Piper's Pit he did with the Shield. I remember the Piper's Pit. The last one he did, I believe, was in 2014, just before WrestleMania 30. And he had other members of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on that show. I remember even they did like a big segment when it was backstage at WrestleMania 30, when it was Hogan, Mr. T, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and Piper, Paul Orndorff, and Cowboy Bob Orton, and they redid the whole WrestleMania main event thing from the first ever WrestleMania. I thought that was pretty cool. And now he's gone. It's just insane because the wrestlers nowadays are just dropping like flies. Last year, we in 2011, we lost Superfly Jimmy Snuka. In 2013, we lost Paul Bearer. Now we lost Ultimate Warrior. We lost we just lost Dusty Rhodes. We've just lost a lot of wrestlers in the wrestling business. Um, so it's just insane. I just can't believe this has happened. Um, and I don't even know what to say at this point. Um, I think on Raw, they're gonna eventually play a tribute for him, which is gonna be nice. And I Piper, if you want to be a wrestling fan, watch his stuff because he was one of the greatest heels probably in the WWE. I would say. Because he was just such a great at being a heel. Like you don't really like if you watch his stuff, he was just such a great heel. And I even remember that boxing match he did with Mr. T. I don't know if I've said that, and that was insane too. It's just a shame, and I think they're gonna. Hopefully, they do something for. Oh, the phone's ringing. I'll have to get that in a second. Hopefully, they do something for him going into the Hall of Fame. That would be nice. Not the Hall of Fame on the WWE Network. They play like a nice little video tribute for him. Like they did for Dusty Rhodes and Ultimate Warrior and stuff like that. It just kind of sucks.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hello, Owen. Answer the phone. Hello.
All right, let me finish this out. But yeah, just Piper passing away is just insane. And it's at like I said, it's at a weird time after that whole Hulk Hogan thing, and it's just insane. But other than that, like I said, I hope you know Piper's family well after this because it isn't easy losing a member of your family. Obviously, I want to thank Piper for all the moments that I just listed off, and there's probably a lot more that I don't even know about. I want to thank him for that, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to end this off, so you can click down below to check out my CM Brothers channel. My friend James Hebert has 2 YouTube channels. James Hebert's over here. He makes custom Titantrons of wrestlers, and over here is Weymouth Youth Wrestling. He's been holding a tournament to crown the new WYW champion, and I am going to become the brand new WYW champion because I am one of the 32 members in that tournament. So that's about it, guys. Talk to you later.